Right. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope everyone is doing fine. Um, so we're gonna continue on our lab work today, what we left off last week. And before I start, I just want to confirm with you guys the week of March 8th. Um, we have class on March 11th. So this is the not the next week, but the week after. I have some personal commitments. So I was wondering, is it possible if we could push this class to be conducted on Wednesday at on 10th March? But before we go do that, how many of us are enrolled in the DevSecOps class? If you just raise your hand here for me. Okay, so we have two people here. 3, 4. Okay. Okay. All right. So we have 5 folks in here. They are enrolled in that class. Um, okay, I'll see what I can do. Either, but I'll let you guys know, by next week, by our next week's class. Either we're gonna have to cancel that class and we'll do a makeup class maybe afterwards, um, or I can actually, that the weekend is also busy as well. So that's another challenge for me. And I have some personal commitments, pretty much, throughout the week, Monday through um, pretty much, yeah, Monday through Friday, and then weekend as well. So we'll see either I'll have to figure something out for you guys because I don't want that week to go without any class. So let me just figure it out, and I probably will email you guys um, after I check my calendar for for the weekend as well, and I'll let you guys know. So let's say if we have to conduct this class over the weekend, maybe Saturday or Sunday, what time will work for you guys? Do you guys wanted to conduct this the same time, um, either Saturday or Sunday, or daytime is fine with you guys?
Friday evening is good, but Saturday it's quite difficult.
Okay. Yeah, Friday actually, we have a kids coding class the same time, and I'm helping out in that class, so that takes around 9:30 to end. So if we have the class afterwards, that will be too much of a stretch for you guys. Mhm.
Faisal, can we do it on Sunday at same time, 8 to 10?
Okay, so I'll make a note for Sunday. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you guys maybe a feedback form so that everybody, whoever is attending this class, just respond back to me, and based on the um, you know the decision we get from the rest of the crew here, we'll just arrange that class. One option I have is yeah, but that's not gonna work as well because we have people in different classes as well. Okay. Yeah, Sister Samira, the problem is, if we go do it on at 10 a.m. or 8 a.m., that will be too early for our West Coast folks. Although, people who are joining us from India or Pakistan, that shouldn't be a problem with them. But so 10 a.m. will be 8 a.m. Pacific. Okay, I'll see what I can do. At least, I'll send you guys a quick survey form, with a couple of slots, and we'll see, if we could come to a conclusion on that. Alrighty. Okay. All right. So I think let's get started. And sorry about this. Today is lecture 4 and 18th is the date. All right. So let's just quickly review what we covered last time. You guys can lower your hands. Let's just quickly review what we covered last time. And I'm going to pause after that if you have any questions. And then right after that, we're going to just go straight into the AWS console and look into and, start building our Linux and Windows instances. Okay. Ready. Okay, so last week we covered AWS keys. We created one PPK key for our Windows folks, and folks who are using Mac machines, we created a PAM key for them. Also, we created as one security group, and we poked a couple of holes in it. We poke a hole for port 22, that is for Linux access, and also I believe it was 3389, that is for our Windows RDP. So this is for SSH and this is for RDP for Linux instances and for Windows instances. Okay. All right. So that's what we did. And today we're going to continue on it, and we're going to launch our first Linux and Windows instances into the cloud. And we will, try to access those. Okay. So that's what we did. And then after that, we looked into an organizational architecture or organizational environment. How does it look like from intranet, and how does it look like from extranet or internet? We created one small company and showed you guys how the different departments work and what area covers the intranet side and what area covers the internet side of it. Okay, so this is what we created. We did the default porting and punch holes for internal and external access. All right, so let's go to our console and let's launch our first Linux and Windows instances. Okay, so I am already logged into my console. I want you guys to log in there as well. Let me just increase the size for you guys. Okay. To access the console, URL is console.aws.amazon.com. Let me just paste it here in the chat as well. Those of us who are not able to see that, it's console.aws.amazon.com. Okay. Alrighty. So once you logged into the console, okay, so we can go into the click on services, top left, and then click on EC2. So we're gonna go into the EC2 dashboard. Before I go into the EC2 dashboard, let's just ensure that we are all in the North Virginia region. All right, so here I am seeing I have 0 instances running at this time. Rest is all 0 except 2 fields have values on them. One is the key pairs. I have 2, you guys will have only 1 key. and also security groups. It is showing two. You guys should be seeing two security groups there as well. Okay, one is the default one, and another one is the one which we created last week. All right. Why am I seeing two key pairs? If I click on it, it is going to tell me the first key which I created for you guys. This is the one which I walk you through how to create the key. The second one is the test IEC key or the test key, and I'll let you know the reason why I created that once we go try access the Linux instance. Okay.
Hello, Faisal.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not able to see anything. Are you showing something? Or
Oh,
maybe
I am so sorry.
Oh,
no.
yeah, we see your camera.
You're not able to see my screen? All right. Sorry about that. I thought I shared my screen. I've been talking to you guys just with the
I thought you
screen.
were going to do it, and so like I was just waiting to see it.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Do you want me to repeat what I talked about or show you guys on the slide deck? Or are we good what we covered last week?
Pretty good.
Okay. All right. So I am logged into the console here. And again, URL is console.aws.amazon.com. Okay.
Specify?
And
I'm sorry, I apologize. Quick question.
sure.
Well, the second key pair, is that, you said it was a test. Was that just for your purposes, or were we supposed to have a test key
No,
pair?
you don't. Yeah, you're not supposed to have that. This is just to show you guys a couple of things, using that key.
I see. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
sure. All right. So ensure that you are in North Virginia region. Okay. Under the compute, I'm gonna go into EC2, and you see that everything is 0 except key pairs and security groups. All right. So I'm gonna click on key pairs here to show you guys. I have one of my key here, which I created for this class. That's a IEC string 2021. Okay. And the one is the test key. So you don't have to create that. It's just to give you guys some additional understanding. All right, so on the left-hand pane, if I scroll down in here under the network and security here, in this section, I see the security groups. I am going to click on it. Once I click on that, you see there are two security groups. One is we named IEC underscore SG or IEC underscore security group. This is the one which we created. This is the name of that, and some basic default information into it. And there's another one which is default, and we tag that. We put a tag on it that do not use. We are not going to use it. And the reason was that it has, if I click on it, you see the inbound rules, everything is open. So all the traffic is allowed in. So we do not use the default one. If I click on my other one which I created with you guys, going into the inbound rules, remember we are seeing, although we created one SSH and one RDP, but we are seeing two SSH and two RDP here, and the reason was one is for the IPv4 and another one is for the IPv6. Okay, same goes with RDP, one for IPv4 and another one is for the IP version 6. All right, so what we are going to do is we have those security group created. It has an inbound rule and outbound rule. If you guys remember, it's open for everything. Remember, keeping yourself in the perspective of an instance. So anything going out is the outbound. Anything which is coming in is the inbound rule. So from the instance itself, we are not putting any restriction for anything for the outbound. But when we are going to do some advanced or additional security testing, then we'll try to play around, or tinker around with this outbound rules We'll try to, minimize that to, one single IP address or a subset of IP address, and we'll see how this thing, helps out here, this outbound rule. Okay. So we have one outbound rule at this time that is only for the basic access of our SSH and RDP service. Okay. All right. So now that we have that, all sorted out, on the left hand side, I'm going to scroll to the top, and you see here instances. Under the instances, you see that instance is new. So just click on it. All right. So they are redesigning a new console. Okay. All right. So here, right now, I have 0 instances. An instance means virtual machine or a machine or an operating system. Wesba, you have any question? See your hand raised.
No.
Okay. Let me just lower your hand here. All right. Okay. So here on the top right side, you see that orange icon, launch instance. So we're going to click on that and just follow along. This is a critical piece here, guys. If you pick anything else other than free tier eligible, you see that free tier eligible here. If you pick anything else other than free tier eligible, you're going to incur charges. And believe me, I take no responsibility for all those charges. So just watch very carefully. Where am I clicking? And I'm going to be telling you this, that we have to pick only the free tier eligible ones. We can, on the left hand side, you see that there is a checkbox, free tier only. If I click on it, it will show me only the instances that are free tier eligible. You see that, there is a highlighter the bottom of each operating system, and you can pick, from that. Amazon provides several different types of operating systems. Actually, various types of Linux operating systems, and also, Windows operating system as well. And what are those? Amazon has its own Linux operating system. They call it Amazon Linux. This has this one is the free tier eligible. We can use using our free tier account. Red Hat Linux is another one. SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Linux. Ubuntu Linux, they have, 2 different versions. And then, so these were the Linux versions on the top. And then at the bottom, you see Windows different flavors or different types. Windows 2019 base, Windows Server 2019 with container, core base, and different types. And then there are some other SUSE Linux and Windows 2004 as well, Windows 2016, 2012. So, different flavors of Windows Server operating system are also available. Okay, so these are the free tier eligible ones. Okay, if I just uncheck that, Amazon recently announced back in summer last year. And what they announced is previously there were only 2 major operating systems which Amazon was supporting. One was Linux operating system, and another one was Windows operating system. Now they have introduced Mac OS as well. So you can create instances of Mac OS. You can create Mac machines as well, or Mac instances as well. This was not there up until summer. It was not been an offering by Amazon, and but you see that Mac OS is not free tier eligible. So if you pick this one, you will incur some charges on that. Okay, so when you are building your virtual machine or when you are building your instances, it's a 7-step process. We are at step number 1 right now, and you see the other steps here as well, which are mentioned. Let's say if you have not checked this box here, so just ensure that, because Amazon Linux, there are some flavors of Amazon Linux. See this one here, and this one is not free tier eligible. Okay, so ensure that this label here or this flag here, you are keeping a keen eye on this one when you select this. Okay, so I'm gonna go to, I'm gonna click on free tier eligible. I'm gonna pick this Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Okay, what is AMI? AMI stands for Amazon Machine Image. They call this a template of the OS or the vanilla OS. Amazon calls it AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Okay, here it is as well, Amazon Machine Image. AMI, some people call it AMI. Okay, so this is SSD volume based, and it under the description here you will see a lot of information. At this time it might not be making sense to you, but as you proceed along, you will have more understanding on that. Okay. Right, Shabarbai, you have any question? See your hand raised.
Yes, I just missed how you come to this screen after clicking on instance new.
Sure, let me cancel and
Sorry.
exit. I'm gonna come back in here. Okay, so I am in EC2
Okay.
dashboard. On the left hand side under the instances, you see that orange, so I'm gonna
It's
click
after.
on it. Okay,
Yes.
and then on the right hand side you see the launch instance orange icon. Just click on it. Once I click on it, this is the step one. We are at step number 1 here. Okay.
Okay, got
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
got it. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
मैंने कुछ मिस तो नहीं किया?
Did you just join? Is it Shamir?
जी.
Okay. I was just showing how we are going to launch an instance. Let me just quickly go in there. I am in the console right now, and inside the console under the compute, I'm gonna click on EC2, and under the EC2, I'm gonna click on instances on the left hand side. Okay. And then inside the instances, on the top right side, you see the launch instance. We're gonna just click on launch instance. We were at step number 1, and what I was telling that ensure that when you pick the instance, you pick only the free tier eligible that has this flag here. Do not pick anything other than any instance that does not have this flag. Otherwise, Amazon will start charging you. So in order to be on the safe side, there is a checkbox on your left hand side, free tier eligible, free tier only. Click on the checkbox. So it will show you only the free tier of eligible instances or the OS types. So we're gonna pick the very first one, Amazon Linux. And here, if you see, if I highlight it in here, it has a couple of other some technical information or technical lingo is being used. You might it might not make sense to you at this time, but just follow along, and as you proceed along, you will learn more about that. Like it has the system D version, this, it has the GCC or GNU C++ library, and then glibc, different libraries of this version, some bin utils of this version, and a couple other things here. There are 2 different types mentioned here, 64-bit x86 platform, and another one is the ARM platform. Let's just pick a 64-bit platform, which is our regular platform, what we have on our laptops or desktops. And in coming days, I'll talk more about what is the difference between the two. Okay, let's just ensure that we have the 64-bit. Although your laptop or your desktop might be 32-bit, don't worry about it, because this instance, this one is not going to run on your laptop or your desktop. It is going to run in the cloud, right? So we're just picking the 64-bit architecture, right? So this blue icon here, select, click on it. Now we are at step number 2, okay? And this is also a critical step, okay? First critical step was step 1, where we have to pick only the free tier eligible one, okay? Now here we have to pick only Okay, here we have to pick only the instance type that
I'm sorry. I disconnected. My screen got disconnected. Which VM are we choosing? I apologize.
okay. Are you guys able to see my screen? Or is it
Yes.
just Heather?
I am. I accidentally disconnected the power cable from the monitor, so I didn't see anything. So
Okay.
my bad.
Okay. So we picked the the Amazon Linux, and now we are at step number 2. And this step number 2 is also a critical piece. Okay. Here we have to ensure that we pick only the free tier eligible one. Okay. And this is the instance type. If you remember, there were a couple of instance types in our, I believe, first or the second lecture when we talked about the instances. Um, and For the free tier, how Amazon works is Amazon gives you only one instance type, which is t2.micro. This is the only free tier eligible instance. If I pick anything else other than that, Amazon will start charging me. Okay, so this is the second critical piece that ensure that you are picking only this one. On the contrary, what Azure does is Azure actually gives you a credit. So you have, I believe it's $250, I guess. So that $250 credit you get. Now with that $250, you can pick any instance type that falls that that you may require. Even if you are picking any smaller instance type, Amazon will just deduct from that $250. But here, Amazon is just giving you a liberty to use only one type. But if I pick anything else, like any other instance type, charges are not that deep or that much, but still you're gonna see the charges in your credit card bill. So since now at this time you guys are learning, so I would suggest stay within the free tier range. Okay. With this free tier T2 micro, it is with this instance, we're gonna get one virtual CPU and 1 gig of memory at this time. This is enough for you guys to run any Linux or Windows instance. So don't worry about that. It's a very small one. It's just only 1 gig or only one virtual CPU. But this will serve the purpose for you, and you should not have any problem running that instance. Okay, so we pick this T2 micro. Actually, Amazon picked it up for me here by default. All right, so at the bottom right you see the next configure instance details. So I'm going to click on next here. Okay, we are at step number 3 here. Okay, step 3 is we have to configure the instance details, or we have to provide some details around that. At this time, we're going to keep everything as default because right now we have not done much of, we have not studied much on the other areas like security or VPC or IAM piece. So as we proceed along, we're going to start fine tuning our instances as well. Okay, so here everything will remain default. We're not going to make any changes. Name a number of instances. How many instances if I wanted to, launch? Let's say I am given a task. Hey, you know what? These are 20 instances. Why don't you go ahead and launch those 20 instances? So either I can launch one instance at a time and take my sweet time to finish that work, or I can just simply change this number to 20 and I can launch 20 similar type of instances all together. They all will be ready right away soon as I go back to the EC2 dashboard. Okay, so for now let's just leave it number as 1. And then in purchasing option, remember the Spark instance where you bid on that. So this is about the purchasing options. Then the network segment, placement group, domain segment. So this is more of an IAM section. This is more of an VPC section. And then the rest, this bottom piece here is the shutdown behavior. Let's say if I shut down this instance, what's going to happen? Is it going to stop or is it going to terminate? What is the difference between the two? Stop is keeping my data intact. Whatever I configure or whatever I did into the machine or the instance, if I shut it down or if it is in the stop state, so it will just stay there within my console, and my data will intact there. The other option is terminate. So what does terminate do is it is going to delete everything. So it is going to delete the storage, it is going to delete the instance. So whatever the work I did, let's say if I did a lot of configuration, I did a lot of app work or some web browser or configure the operating system with different things. So if I terminate that instance, that means everything is deleted. So whatever the work I did, it's all lost, it's all gone. Okay. So we're gonna just leave it as is in here, not making any changes. Okay. And then under the advanced details, we can and I'm gonna show you in our next one as well. You can provide some configuration like pre-configurations, and that could be passed while the instance is going to be provisioned. Let's say I want to set this instance as a web server. So instead of instead of me waiting for that instance to come up and then I'm gonna go in there and then install and configure the web server, I can just simply provide all the commands in here. And so what Amazon does is it packages those commands as soon as the instance launches. By the time instance is being launching, it actually push all those commands, whatever the commands I type in here. And once the instance is ready, so all those commands will be pre-baked into it. So this is another way of helping out, like hey, instead of going into all those instances and typing in all those commands or scripts, why not just package it all together and just push it in here, and we are all set. Okay, I can just type it into this box, or I can click on as a file, and if I have all the content there in the file, I can just attach it here. Okay. All right, so next one is add storage at the bottom right. I'm gonna go into this step number 4. I'm gonna click on it. Now we are in step 4, which is the storage step. Here by default, Amazon is giving me 8 gig of root volume. So root volume is like the base OS volume where the OS resides. Okay, so for the OS, it is giving me 8 gig. It's a general purpose SSD. Don't worry about it. In our storage section, we're gonna go deep dive into it. What are different types: SSD, GP2, GP3, what is IO specific or provision IOPS, or the cold storage or magnetic storage, or what is the general purpose. So we're gonna go in detail into the storage section. Okay, here you see that delete on termination. This box is checked. That means that if I terminate this instance, this storage which is attached to it will be deleted as well. If I just remove this here, that means that instance will be deleted, but the storage will remain intact. Not intact. Storage will be there in the storage section. So I can, whatever the configuration I made, I can just have it intact there. And the next instance I'm going to launch, I can just attach that storage and have the work copy over, or maybe use it as my data disk. Right now, we'll just delete on termination at this time. Encryption, by default is showing not encrypted, but we can pick default Amazon encryption. So what does encryption mean is that it's going to secure my data at rest. Remember, we talked about 2 types of encryptions: data at rest and data in motion. Since the data is going to reside on this disk, and if the disk is encrypted, that means that if my machine or my instance is compromised or somebody got in, they will not be able to see, or if they were able to pull the data out of it, they will not be able to see any, like they will get the data, but the data will not make any sense to them because it will all be garbage that, they will be seeing. So encryption helps to secure my data at rest here if I encrypt the disk. So for now, by default, let's just pick all the defaults. Let's not make any additional changes in here. Okay. Okay. All right. So and then our next step is add tags. It's an optional, but let's just add some tags in here. Okay. So I'm going to click on add tag key. So tags is a key value pair. So right, there is a key and there is a value associated with that. So let's just put it as key as a name and just name it as my first Linux instance. Okay. And this tag will be attached with the instance, also with the network, also with the volumes or the storage which we are connecting to it, and also with the network interfaces. Okay. All right. So next one is configure security group. We are at stage number 6. Okay. Remember, we created one security group. Whatever the security group that you guys created, okay? So let's say if you forgot, or let's say you deleted that security group, whenever you launch an instance, Amazon will give you an option to create a new security group, okay? Or select an existing security group. And Amazon knows that we are launching a Linux instance. So create a new security group. It is giving us an option to open an SSH port because it's a Linux instance, so it will only be accessible through SSH, not through RDP. Okay. So here is giving me this option. Or the second option is select an existing one. Now in the existing one, remember we have 2 security groups there. One is the default one, which we mentioned do not use. The other one is IEC Spring SG. So I'm going to click on the second one. As soon as I click on it, it is showing me, currently it's showing me 4 rules, 2 for SSH and 2 for RDP. So we'll just pick this one up. We'll pick this security group. Okay. And the next step is review and launch. Okay. I'm going to click on this. Now Amazon is going to warn me. And the warning is that my security group is open to the world. This is a warning. That means that anybody in the world can come in and access my instance. Okay, so Amazon is giving me this warning. Hey, are you okay proceeding with this? Okay, so yes, I am okay with this at this time because we created the security group with this thing in our mind that we are doing it for the first time, so we're just open it for the entire world, and then as we proceed along, we're gonna just narrow it down to to a smaller subset or maybe just to one specific IP address. Okay. All right. Scrolling down, it is telling me that yeah, everything looks okay to me here. At the bottom right, we are at sorry, on the top left, we are at step number 7, which is the review. Okay. Now we are one step away from launching our very first Linux instance. Soon as I click launch, it is going to pop one menu for me here. Okay. And this is select a key pair. Either I select an existing one, which I created already, or I'll create a new one. Okay. So here, choose an existing key pair or create a new key pair or proceed without a key pair. Okay. And we'll see, I mean, if we, at times, we can launch instance that does not require any key pair and we can log into them through different means. Okay, so we're gonna choose an existing key pair, and remember we created one, Faisal_IC Spring 21. That's what I'm gonna pick. I'm not picking the test key. Okay, I'm picking the one which I created here. Okay, whatever the key you guys created, whatever the name you gave it, just pick this one. Okay, and then click on acknowledge. Why is it asking me to acknowledge? The acknowledgement is that I know that I am going to use this key pair. What if I created this keep here and it got deleted from my laptop here. I will not be able to log into my instance, and that's what Amazon is warning me again, that asking my acknowledgement that if I lose that, I won't be able to log into my instance. Okay, there's no way that I will be able to recover that key pair. Okay, so this is the third critical piece here. Okay, all right, I'm gonna click on launch instance. As soon as I click launch instance, your instance is now launching. Okay, at the bottom right, you see the view instances. I can click in here, or I can click launch logs, or I can click in here. So at the bottom right, I'm going to click on view instances. I clicked on that, and here it is showing me the name my first Linux, the instance ID, and then instance state. Right. Remember, just a second ago, it was telling me it's pending. Now it's in the running state. For you, it might take some time. Don't worry about it. If it is taking time, there is a refresh icon in here. Click on the refresh, and it'll refresh and it'll show you the instance state. Okay, instance type is T2 micro. That tells me that this is my free tier instance. Stack check is still initializing, and then there are no alarms. It is launched in availability zone US East 1D. Your might be US East 1A or 1B, 1C, 1D or 1E, because there are 6 availability zones in North Virginia. So if yours is showing in a different AZ, that's okay. That's very common. Even if I launch 2 instances, Amazon might pick the same one, or there's chances that it might not pick this one. It may pick another different AZ, but that AZ will be within the same region. All right, and then it has some public DNS and private DNS, elastic IP, IPv6, monitoring information, security group is what is attached to it, the key pair which I use to launch that, and then the launch time in here. Okay. Scrolling to the left, and I click on this name. It has the similar, but in the detailed format for me. Okay. What I am most interested in at this time. Okay, couple of things. One is, what is my public IP address? Okay, it is telling me it's showing me my public and also my private IP address. Okay, I'm not interested in private IP address. I am interested in public because I am coming from the public. I am coming from the internet. So whatever is coming from the internet, that's coming from the public side. So there's gotta be a public door where I could come and connect to. And that public interface is this IP address. Okay. This one I cannot connect until or unless I have some other instance running inside it, and through that instance I'll be able to connect to it. But that's the VPC or the advanced networking part. Don't worry at this time. So it is telling me my public IP address, or also it is telling me my public IP DNS. I can connect through this DNS entry as well if I don't want it to connect to that. The other information, if I scroll down in here, it is telling me that it is a Linux instance. Okay. And this is the key pair I used. Okay. And under the security. Okay, previously used to be used to show this in the detail section here. Okay, so under the security, it is telling me that this is the security group. We attach to this instance, and these are the inbound and the outbound rules for that security group. Okay. Alrighty, are you guys with me so far? Any question? Okay. Alrighty, so now that the instance is launched, okay, we're gonna go into the other tabs as well. I want you guys to, go into those tabs as well and, explore, these additional tabs. What do they have? What is the networking section telling me? What is the storage section is telling me? What are the status checks? What are the monitoring tags or the monitoring side? It's still, actually, it is still initializing the backend in here. So now it is telling me where's the CPU utilization, status check failures, or different KPIs. By default, it tells me or it provides me the information of those. Those are CPU, network, status, and the disk. Okay. So if I leave it running for a while, it will start filling in this information for me. Right. Status checks, it is still initializing. I wanted to, show it to you guys. So let's just, by the time it's, launching, let's go into the details. Now, how do I connect to this Linux instance? That's another piece. For that, let's launch PuTTY. This is only for the folks who are using Windows laptops. Folks who are using Mac laptops, they don't need PuTTY, and I'll tell you how do they, get that connected. So this is my instance here. I'm gonna just click on it. Let's say I have like 20 instances. I'm gonna just click on one instance here, and if I click on the connect here, okay, Amazon is telling me what are the different options to connect to the Linux instance. All right. One is through the session. Okay, so they're not able to connect instance. Okay. All right. Well, another method is through the SSH client. And what is that method called? Or what is the method telling me at this time? For the folks who are using Mac here, click on the SSH client and copy this line from your instance or from your console. What does this line tell? Line is telling you, and you have to paste this line into your terminal. So you have to launch the terminal, and then inside the terminal, your key is in the downloads folder. So inside the terminal, just type cd space downloads. Once you are in the downloads folder, then run this command. And what this command is telling me, it is telling me SSH. Using SSH, -i or -i flag is for to point to the direction of the PAM file, wherever the PAM file is. So -i, and then the name of your PAM file or the key file that you created, and then using this username ec2-user. Amazon does not give you a liberty to connect with any other user other than ec2-user. So no other username Amazon allows you the first time. You can use, there are different methods, but by default, the default method is to connect through the username ec2-user. And this is for both Windows and Linux, guys, that the username will always be ec2-user at the machine name. And this is the machine name. Remember, I showed you guys the DNS name. So it picked up this DNS name in here. You can, instead of this, you can just simply paste in the IP address and complete this command and hit enter. You can, highlight this whole thing, or there's an icon in here on your left. You click on it, it will copy this entire command for you. Okay. Mac guys, before you go do this, this is only this is only a one-time work, and which is you have to change the mod, or you have to change the permissions of your key pair, of your key that you created. And this is, the command is chmod 400 and then the key name. Okay. All right. So this is for the Mac guys. Now for the Windows guys, I am going to back in here in the instance, and I'm gonna copy the public. I can copy this public IP address, or I can copy the public DNS. Okay. Public is the key. Not public is the keyword here, not the private. So I'm gonna just simply copy. So this IP address is copied. I'm gonna click on the start key, the bottom left. Either I can go and search for PuTTY, or I can just simply type PuTTY. It will launch PuTTY here for me. Apologize here, guys. I cannot zoom into it. Hope you guys are able to see it. If you're not, just unmute and let me know, please, that you are able to see this PuTTY configuration window here. Okay. All right. So here in the PuTTY configuration window, what I'm gonna do is, remember I copy the IP address, the public IP address. I am going to, under this host name of or IP address field, I have to type a couple of things. I'm gonna type EC2-user, EC2-user, not underscore user. Okay, EC2-user at, and then right click and paste in the IP address. All right. Mine is this. Yours will be a different IP address. So you have to type this. All right. Do not hit enter until I say so. Okay. So we have this. Inside the session, under the host name or IP address, just have to type in this. Okay. Now on the left-hand pane under the category, bottom side, if you go to the bottom, you see the SSH and there is a plus next to it. So click on the plus, that will expand this for you. Once I click on the plus, it expanded the SSH, and there are some additional sub areas here. Here under the SSH, you see auth. Do not click plus, but click on auth itself. Click on auth. This is for the authentication section. And here on the right hand side at the bottom, you see private key for authentication. Here, click on browse. My keys are in my downloads folder. So the key I created, the Faisal_IEC_spring 2021, the key is here, that PPK key. Okay, so I am going to pick this one up here. Are you guys with me so far? Any question? Because at times, this thing gets people confused. Any question?
So EC2 dash user at the rate.
Yes, at the rate, and then the name or the IP address of the machine of your instance here, which is.
I got that. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Which is in here. All right. So I put this information in here. I'm gonna, on the left hand side, I'm gonna scroll back up. I'm gonna go into this sessions again. And as soon as I click open, it will launch the Linux for me. Or it will log in to the Linux, and I will have my first Linux instance. I'm gonna have that, I'm gonna get connected to it. But before I go do this, you don't have to do this, but I'm gonna go under the Windows appearance. I'll change the font size so that you guys will be able to see it. And I went back again to session. This is that, and I'm gonna click open here. I click open. It gave me a warning, and this is the one-time warning that the key pair which I'm using, I do not have that signature copied, but its fingerprint is not copied to my locally here. So that's the warning I'm gonna get. So just click yes. As soon as I click yes, Boom, here, there you go. So I am connected to my first ever Linux instance. Okay. Using username ec2-user, authenticate with public key. This is the key, and says ec2 here, Amazon Linux 2 AMI. Remember, we picked the Amazon Linux, and this is the prompt here. And Linux is command line. ec2-user at, and then it is telling me this IP address. What is this IP address? So 172.13.93.18. If I go in here, let me just minimize this. 172.31-93. This is the public IP, sorry, private IP address it is showing me. Yeah. So it has private IP interface configured with this. Actually, it has the host name configured with this private IP address. Okay, but that's okay. That's not a problem. Now I can run a couple of Linux commands, w or who, or clear to clear the screen, or who am I, tells me that I am ec2-user. Okay, but on the uptime, it tells me it's been up for what 2 minutes? Oh, sorry, 15 minutes. One user is logged in there. If I just simply type W, it tells me how many users are logged in. And if I do a command df-h, this tells me how many file systems I have. What is the size of these file systems? How much is used? How much is available? What is the percentage used? And what it is mounted as. Don't worry about mounted as. We'll do a couple of Linux labs. You'll find out. You'll get to know those. My experiences in my previous classes, not very many people have Linux experience, or maybe this is the first time they are seeing the Linux instance. I'm gonna be maybe passing on a couple of Linux commands to you guys. To learn Linux, the best option is to go through YouTube. Maybe search. Maybe I'll see if I could find some basic Linux tutorials for you guys, because command line is the key. If you know the command line, this gives you an edge. And Linux is all command line. Although Linux has graphical interface, but when we work in Linux, we do not go into the graphical interfaces. It's all command line, configure everything command line. That's how we do. Okay. All right. So this is our first Linux instance that we launch. Okay. Any question before we move on to our Windows instance launching? Okay. Alrighty.
So if we are not expert in Linux, then what will gonna happen with us? We will not be able to work on it.
You kind of broke up in the middle for me, OSBy. Can you repeat your question again?
I was asking if we do not have a pretty experience on Linux command line, that means we will not be able to be expert or the intermediate user.
Well, practice makes a man perfect, right? So the more you practice, the more you learn. At least know the basic Linux command. If you're going into the field, you should have at least some basic Linux command skills, and then rest you learn a job.
When I saw the black screen, I got feel sleepy.
You feel sleepy.
That's the window makers.
Okay, we can change the color settings, and we can make it white background and black icon or black text. Yeah. Yeah, Linux is all command line. That's the beauty of it. I grew up with Linux. My career for the most part, or for the majority of the part, was in Linux and Unix area. So this command line, I'm more comfortable in command line than in the graphical interfaces. And now the way things are going, more command line stuff is coming in, like IAC or the Terraform, Kubernetes, or the Dockers or the containerization. These are the things which are mainly command line. So I would suggest to start building your expertise in the command line. This will help you guys out. And I'll try to find some some YouTube videos for you guys so that you could learn some more command line stuff.
Mhm.
If you type
Okay.
help, it will give you a lot of commands which can be used. Help, HELP.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if you just type help, it will give you tons and tons of commands here, right? Now you have to, figure out which command is for what purpose. So I'll see if I could find, at least some basic commands. df is one command, and then du is for the disk utilization. Du is for the disk utilization, and then pwd is the present working directory, which directory I am in. cd is for change directory, these type of commands. And then they used to have ifconfig command or interface config. Excuse me. This tells how many interfaces does it have, what is the IP address configured to it. But Amazon is still using the old deprecated one. It is changed on the newer version of Linuxes, which is now it's IP address show, or IPAS, that shows you the old Linux style IP addressing format, or the command, or the output is the old Linux or Solaris, or sorry, old Unix or Solaris type format that it shows you. But anyways, um, uh, the the main goal is to get you guys comfortable with the console. So this is the first step in that, that you were able to launch your Linux instance. Okay. If there's no question, I'm gonna take 5-minute break for you guys as well to stretch out, maybe fill your coffee or water or whatever, and then in 5 minutes we're gonna connect back in and we're gonna launch our Windows instance. That will be more interesting to you guys, how to launch and then how to connect to Windows and do some work in the Windows side. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna just change this to 5 minutes. All right, I'll see you guys in 5 minutes. And I will be back shortly. I'll put myself on mute here. So, Sir Fatma, do you have any question? See your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I actually typed my question into the meeting chat, but I seem to may have missed it. Okay. I'm not sure if it's myself only, but I'm unable to see. Are you able to zoom the screens to appear bigger so that I'm not sure if it's me, but I feel like I'm squinting to see.
Okay.
Yeah, like I can see the white one, the notepad is clearer, but the black and some of these things, if you can zoom.
Okay, I can zoom further more into it for you.
Yeah, so each of these screens so that I can be more clear to see what you're doing.
Okay. Is it
Yeah,
better now?
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure. Sorry, you missed the chat here. So Kaz asked a question. You mentioned Azure. So between AWS and Azure, which one is easy to configure? It's pretty much the same. Not much of a difference. Azure actually provides you some um, additional capabilities. Like in Amazon, it binds you to um, Amazon does not allow you to create any user. Amazon asks you to connect with only this user, EC2-user. But in Azure, you can create your own user. You can provide your own password if you don't want to go with the key pair option. Also, Azure offers the key pair option as well, allows you to, creating the user. Okay. All right. So let's move forward and let's create our first Windows instance. But before I go do this, I'm gonna ask you guys do one thing first and make this your habit now. Going forward. But this is only for this free tier account, not at work. Um, I go into the EC2 dashboard, go into the instances, and select the instance that you just created and terminate that
Excuse me,
instance.
Pet.
Yes,
How we can exit from that Linux screen?
the black screen here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave it as is for now. And you can just simply type exit, EXIT, and it will exit you out of it. Or you can leave it as
Oh,
is for now, and
got it.
this window, keep running, that's fine, or you can just simply X out on the top right.
Okay.
But the main thing is that you ensure that you terminate this instance. Okay, if you do not terminate that instance, it will keep running, but eventually Amazon will start charging you. Although Amazon gives you 750 hours of free usage per month for your free tier. Um, but
Okay.
this will start consuming your 750 hours. So the best approach is for this free tier to stay within the radar line, not go overboard or not get charged for it. Suggested method is just highlight that instance, and then on top you see the instance state, drop it down and go to terminate.
Should we do now?
Yeah, go ahead and do that. So once I click terminate,
Okay.
it will ask me a confirmation. Okay, and then I click terminate.
Got it.
I see this message here, successfully terminated this instance. Now
Okay.
it will, if I just refresh here, this click on this refresh icon, either it's gone or it will be showing, terminating for you. So this instance is terminated. This instance is gone. I will not be there will not be any charges I'm going to be incurring. So if I just refresh it again in here, it's showing me shutting down. Okay. And then after a while, I'm going to see in terminated state, and this will remain there for at least hour or two. And then afterwards, it will just, vanish from the console here. Okay. So my first Linux, I terminate that. Now we're going to launch our Windows instance. How we're going to go do that? Same thing. At the top right, under the launch instances, you see this orange icon. Click on that. This time, what we're going to do, so we're going to go through the same 7-step process. But now instead of Linux, instead of Amazon Linux, we're going to pick Windows. So bottom left, click on free tier only. And then these are the Linux instances you've seen, or the Linux AMIs. Scroll down and you see the Windows. Let's just pick only Windows Server base here. All right. So this free tier eligible. So I'm going to pick this Windows 2019 Server base. I'm going to pick this one. Click on select the top on the right hand side. Instance type, same thing. Ensure that free tier eligible T2 micro. All right. Bottom right, click next, configure instance. Everything default, we're not making any changes here. Click next, add storage. Everything default, same thing, not making changes, but here there is a difference you're gonna be seeing.
30
On
GB.
Linux side, if you remember, the root instance, it was for the Linux, it was 8 gig, but for Windows, it's 30 gig. So for Windows, it needs a bigger size OS volume. Okay, the rest is all the same. We're not making any other changes here. Next, add tag. I'm going to add a tag here. Click add tag, give it a name. My first Windows. Okay. Same thing, the tag is gonna get applied to the instance, also the volume, and also the network interfaces. All right. Bottom right, next, configure security. Remember, we're not picking any new security group. We're gonna pick the existing security group. Okay, if I go back to the new security group, now this time, since we are launching the Windows instance, so it picked up by default for me. What did it pick up? It picked up that this is a Windows instance, so it picked up RDP for port 3389 instead of port 22. It picked up the RDP port. But this is the create new. So we already created our security group. So I'm gonna click on existing. We have two here, default and IEC Spring. So I'm gonna pick the second one here that has the SSH and RDP for both IP6 and IP4, port 3389. Bottom right, review and launch. Same warning is giving me that my security group is open for the entire world. Don't worry, that's okay. Next, click launch. Here, choose an existing key pair. I'm gonna pick this Faisal_IEC Spring and then acknowledge the same and then click launch instance. All right, Linux instances, they get instantiated right away. They get created right away. But Windows instances, they take some time. Okay. So bottom right, click on view instance. Okay, so here you see that my first Windows, this is the bottom one. It is showing pending. My first Linux is showing terminated. Okay, Windows is showing running now. If I just simply refresh in here, all this showing running, but probably at times, it takes time. So here I'm gonna just click on the left hand side, this checkbox here next to the Windows. Same thing, it is giving me the same information. I'm going to copy this public IP address. It's copied. All right, so this box is checked. I'm going to go click on connect and it is going to show me the connect string. Session manager, but through the RDP. And the RDP is showing me this is the public DNS and it is going to connect through the user administrator. How do I get the password? So to get the password, I'm gonna have to hover my mouse over. This is an icon here. Amazon, changed their console quite a bit compared to the last time. So I'm gonna click on this get password. So password is not available yet. We have to wait a couple more minutes. So by the time password is being ready, um, it's not actually password being ready. It's actually the instance is not ready yet. So I'm gonna just click on close here. It took me back in again here. I'm gonna click on make sure that this is highlighted. Click on connect. Go back again, RDP client. I have two options now. Either I launch RDP client from my machine itself, or I can download this pre-populated RDP client, or RDP stands for Remote Desktop Protocol. So this one has everything pre-populated. This one has username populated, and also this one has the public DNS name pre-populated as well. Excuse me. So if I just click on it, it will download to my downloads folder, and here it is at the bottom right. If I just pop launch it, it has the remote computer name, and if I just drop down the show details, sorry, not here. If I just click on connect, it is asking me for the administrator password. I do not have the administrator password yet, right? So I'm gonna just put it aside here and try to go back in here, try to get the password again. If I click on get password, all right, so now the instance has launched completely. So it is going to give me a password once I provide this key, which I use to create this instance. All right. So how do I do that? Either I copy paste the content or I browse. Once I click browse, my key is in my downloads folder. Right. So right now at the bottom right, you see the default is PEM. Drop this one down to all files. Otherwise, you will not be able to see your file. Okay. And here, oh, why am I not seeing that? Did I remove it or what? 1 second. This is not my first one. Okay. Okay, the key is here. Sorry. If I click on it, let's see if it picks one up. Okay, so it picked it up. So I picked this key. This key name is matching this associated instance name here. And I just have to click on decrypt password, bottom right. Once I click on this decrypt password, okay. All right. So
Key would be the same as we use for Linux.
No, I got it. Give me 1 second.
Are you able to zoom the screen?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat your question again, please?
Can you zoom bigger the screens or multiple
okay, I'm
screens or
sorry.
something?
Sorry about this one here.
So the key would be the same as we use for Linux.
Yeah, but we have to convert that key. I just realized that this goes with the PAM file, not the PPK file.
So how to convert that key?
Yes. So how to convert that? Okay, so we have two options. Either we create a new PAM key and use that for Windows, or we can convert the existing one, the Linux one, and once we convert that, we can use it. So I'm going to show you both the options here. Okay. So first option is to convert that, and how do we convert this? Um, all right. So how do we convert that? Remember the putty gen that I asked you guys to download from the Google Drive? You can click on this putty gen here, and here in this putty gen, and I'm sorry, sister, I cannot increase the size of this. Let me make a white background so that it may look it may be more legible for you. All right, so here what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on load here, load an existing private key. I'm gonna click on load. Okay, and we will have to pick this Faisal IEC Spring 21 or whatever the name that you guys gave. So click on that. It loaded it up for us, and then after that, what we'll have to do is we'll have to just click on save the generated key. Do not save the public key, save the private key. Okay, click on save private key. It's going to give you a warning. Are you sure you want to save it without the passphrase? Yes. Okay, now save this file as drop down the save as save as type, drop it down from ppk to asterisk dot asterisk, yeah, like all files, and save it as my Windows key dot pem. Okay, make sure that the extension is .pem. Okay, my Windows, or whatever name you want to give it, my Windows key .pem.
.pem.
Yeah, .pem, and then saved it. So once this is saved, let's just see if we could get the password decrypted again. Okay, give me 1 second.
Was I supposed to put something in for the key passphrase or confirm passphrase?
No, that key is not appearing over there.
All right, sorry, what was the question again? Was there a question? Okay. All right. Again, so we converted the same, same this key from .ppk to .pem. All right. So I'm gonna go browse that again. This time, I am going to pick. Come on.
Once the key will load, then we have to hit the decrypt password.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Why is it not showing up here?
Password is not showing.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to. Why is it not showing me the key here? Okay, sorry about that. Let me just go back in here again. So you save the private key, save the public key as well, and this time save this to some other name. Let's say Windows key.pem file. It always gets me confused here. All right, so this time let's pick this one up here, the PAM key. It picked up the PAM file. Now we're gonna click on decrypt password.
No.
Once I click on decrypt password, why is it giving me the error message again? All right, hold on a sec. Okay. Huh. That's not good. All right, so let's do one thing. Let's start over. Sorry about that, guys. Let's do one thing. Let me just cancel it all. Let us terminate this instance because it looks like the key, I don't know, for some reason it's not converting that for me, but that's fine. So I highlighted this Windows 1 and instance state, and I'm going to terminate this. Sorry about this confusion here. So this is, while this is being terminated, let us go on the left hand side under the network and security section. Click on key pairs. So this first key that we created, this was the PPK file. Top right side, create key pair. Click on it. Give it a name. My, let's say, IEC Windows. I just named it as IEC Windows key. Let's say 1, and this time I'm gonna pick PEM file, not PPK. Okay, pick the PEM file, clicked on create key pair. Now I have a Windows key. All right, now I'm gonna go scroll to the on the left hand side, scroll to the top, click on instances, and so this one is terminated as well. Top right, again same process. We're gonna launch the instance. All right, launch the instance here. Make sure that we pick the free tier only, and scroll down, pick the Windows 2019 server base, which is free tier eligible here. Click select, and then free tier eligible T2 micro. Next, right, this one is all default. Next, add storage, leave it default. Next,
you want us to create all over again? Or
yes, yeah, terminate the old instance, create a new PEM key, and then we're gonna use that PEM key to connect with this Windows instance.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And then add tags. Just add a tag. Make it as name. Maybe just name it as Windows. Okay. Windows Server. All right. Next, configure security group. Drop it down to select an existing, and then pick the existing IEC SG. All right. Next, review and launch. Same morning. That's okay. Click launch. Now this time choose an existing key pair, drop it down, pick IEC Windows key. Okay. Pick this one. Pick the one which we just created, the PAM key we created, not PPK. All right. So click on this, acknowledge, and launch the instance. We'll have to wait for it to complete the launch. Click on view instances. All right, so the last one is this Windows Server. I highlighted that. It is showing pending at this time, and I'm gonna just refresh that. It's still pending, so give it some time. By the time it's launching, yes.
configure security group, we will use the new one or the select existing.
Select existing. Pick the existing security group. The one we created, not the default one.
Okay. And the launch. And
Okay. All right, so it is showing running. Let's just refresh it here again. It will take some time um for the key to be ready for us, and we can check make sure that we check the box here, click connect, and then click on RDP client. Okay, and then try click on get password here. Once I click, so password is not available. We'll have to wait a couple more minutes. Meantime, let me ask you guys, are you guys with me so far? Or am I going too fast here?
No, I think it's all good for me.
Okay.
Specify all those files we created, like the conversion of the PM to the PEPK. Do we need those, or should we get rid of those?
No, we don't need those at this time. Yeah,
Okay.
because we created two keys, one for the Windows, one for Linux.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so let's just refresh again. Let's go to connect, and I'm gonna go to RDP password, click on get password. All right, so it's not ready yet. Give it some more time. By the time it's being launching, any other question?
if it is working well, that means we have to create a separate key for Windows.
Yeah, normally we used to create one key and we used to convert that to PPK and PAM. Then Amazon changed like two separate ones, and now it's just a overlook from my side. And I apologize for that. I should have tested that before. But yeah, so in our next class, I'm gonna recap this whole thing, and I'll see if I could create one video and just upload to the YouTube along with this. That video will tell you how to create the keys, how to connect to it, and then how to use which key.
Yeah, I got the password.
Instance type. Yeah.
I got the password.
Okay. All right. So let me click on connect here again and go to RDP client. Click on get password. Okay. So it is asking me for this key pair. Browse this. All right. So I'm going to pick this one up here. The name matches. Click on decrypt password. All right. So this is one big password it is giving me. Okay. Make sure it's case sensitive, and you see that there's a dot at the end. So do not miss that dot. Better to click on the icon to the left, which is this is the copy icon. Click on it, it will copy it for you, password copied, and then click on this download remote desktop file. Okay, this is a pre-populated file.
Yeah.
So click on this one here. It is downloaded now. I'm gonna click on this, launch that, click connect. Password, I'm gonna just paste the password in here and then click OK. Certificate warning, remember Linux gave you the same certificate warning first time. Click yes. And there you go.
Yeah,
we are going into the first Windows instance.
I got it.
All right, so it's gonna take some time, and it will take us into the Windows. Okay. Once you are in, just wait for maybe a couple more minutes, and at the right hand side, it will paste the instance information. That's what you tell. Okay, so this one here, click no. All right, so here on the right hand side, it will post the instance information. It is still going to perform a couple of things.
It is asking about the network. Do
Yeah,
you want to allow
just
to?
click no.
No. Okay.
Click no for now. Yeah.
Okay. There's information. Got it.
You're going fast, Baijan. All right, so on the right hand side, you see that it is telling me some information. What is the host name, instance type, public IP, all those details are here. So this is the Windows instance which we connect into the cloud. At the top, you see this. This is the RDP one, so I can just make size smaller. I can make it bigger here, and I can do whatever I want. All right. So I'm gonna just minimize this, and I'm gonna go back to the EC2 here. Click on instances. I have my Windows server running here. Okay. Same thing. Once you're done with the work, terminate the instance, please. Okay. But before I terminate that, so I'm gonna show you one more method of connecting to it. So I'm gonna close this. All right. So that's the RDP window I closed. Instance is still running here. Okay, I'm gonna click on connect. Oh, sorry, I'm not. Did I? Yeah, I copied the password. Let me just paste in here. Yes, yeah, I still have the password intact with me. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back in here, go to instances, and highlight this Windows instance. And I'm gonna copy this public IP address. Okay, hover your mouse over on the left hand side, copy it. Public IP is copied now. What I'm gonna do is I am going to click on the start button here and just type RDP, because this tool is by default installed on your Windows, and also it is installed on your Mac machines as well. Those who are using Mac, they can connect to that as well. So so I typed RDP in here under the computer, just paste in the IP address. Okay, username is saying none specified, so I'm going to drop it down, and I'm going to type under the username, I'm going to type administrator. Admin is trader. Okay. All right. I'm going to click connect here. It is asking me for the password. Remember, I actually copy the password here on my text file. Copy it in here. Paste it. Click OK. Same morning. Yes. There you go. I am connected to the same instance. Okay. Now, what is the difference between the two methods? This method, using the default tool inside the operating system, I have to populate that. I have to put in the IP address or the host name, and also the username. But if I go do that through the connect method here, go to RDP and download this. So this download, it actually pre-populates these two information for me already. Username and also the machine name. So you can go through the pre-populate method, or you can go through your default, Windows tool. Same thing, taking you the same location, using the same tool. Okay.
Can you repeat that another method which you use?
Okay.
Just
sure. Let me close this in here. Right. I am not stopping or terminating this, and I just close this RDP session. Okay. So on the bottom left, click on the window icon and just simply type RDP. Okay. Once you type RDP, it shows you remote desktop connection here. Okay.
In my screen is showing me the Windows instance instead RDP.
Okay. So what you have to do is You know, at the top side, you must be seeing the blue bar. Just close that out.
I'm already out.
Then you should not be seeing that. Okay, hold on. Let me do one thing. Give me 1 second, Yusuf, OS bhai. So you got this method that, you launch this remote desktop connection. Let's just type, RDP on that Windows status bar. You will have this one popped up in the drop down this show details. Computer name, type the the IP address of the machine, and then put the username administrator. Click connect, paste in the password. You should be getting. Let me just show you guys one thing real quick. Make sure once you done playing with Windows instance, go to EC2 dashboard, click on instances, make sure that you click on the running instance, whatever the instance is running, drop down the instance state, terminate. Okay, if you do not terminate that, you will incur charges. So please make sure that you terminate the instance whenever whenever you're done with playing with it. Okay. Now for this week, I would suggest you guys to launch maybe, just get comfortable with launching the instances, launch Linux instance, connect to it, terminate, do the same thing for Windows. Practice as much as you can so that you would remember those 7 steps. Okay. T2 micro is the one and the free tier. So ensure that, you have, that piece covered this week. Practice as much as you can. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Okay, I'm going to stop recording here. I'll let you share your screen, OS bhai.
I guess the app